We all love true crime, even a story with an unseen twist. But some stories are not just based off legend or lore. In fact, they evolved from events so tragic, it leaves one shivering with horror. Ever had a hang-up call? Been stalked by someone close to you? Well, this story will have you cringing at what could happen when a stalker turns deadly. In today's episode, we're going to be going over the tragic case of Dorothy Scott and the horrifying events that led to her murder, and the case remaining unsolved to this day. Dorothy Jane Scott disappeared on May 28, 1980, in Anaheim, California. She had driven two coworkers to the hospital after one had been bitten by a spider. While they were waiting for a prescription to be filled, Scott went to get her car to bring it around to meet them. Her car approached them, but it sped away. Neither could see who was driving, as his headlights had blinded them. They reported her missing a couple of hours later. After not hearing from her, in the preceding months, Scott had been receiving anonymous phone calls from a man who had reportedly been stalking her. He had threatened to get her alone and cut her up into bits, so no one would ever find her. In June 1980, a man called the Orange County Register, a local newspaper that had published a story on the disappearance, and claimed that he had killed Scott. Police believe the caller was Scott's killer. From 1980 to 1984, Scott's mother Vera also received phone calls from a man who claimed to have Scott, or to have killed her. None of the calls could be traced. However, because the caller would not stay on the line long enough. In August 1984, partial remains were found and later identified as Scott's. No arrests have been made in Scott's case. Scott was a single mother living in Stanton, California, with her aunt and 4-year-old son. She was a secretary for two jointly owned Anaheim stores. One that sold psychedelic items, for example, love beads and lava lamps, and the other a head shop. Coworkers and friends said she preferred staying at home, was a devout Christian, and did not drink or do drugs. Her parents, who lived in Anaheim, babysat their grandson while she worked. Scott's father, Jacob, said his daughter may have dated on occasion, but had no steady boyfriend, as far as the family knew. Months before her abduction, Scott had been receiving strange phone calls at work from an unidentified male. The caller alternatively professed his love for her and his intent to kill her. Scott's mother recounted, one day he called and said to go outside because he had something for her. She went out and there was a single dead red rose on a windshield of her car. Scott's mother said that one call especially horrified her daughter. The man reportedly told Scott he would get her alone and cut her up into bits so no one would ever find her. Because of the calls, Dorothy began considering the purchase of a handgun about a week before her disappearance. She started taking karate lessons. At 9 p.m. on May 28, 1980, Scott was at an employee meeting at work. She noted a coworker, Conrad Broston, did not look well and had a red mark on his arm. She and another coworker, Pam Head, left the employee meeting to take Broston to the emergency room at UC Irvine Medical Center. Scott then changed her black scarf to a red one and stopped by her parents' house on the way to the hospital to check on her son. Medical personnel determined Broston had suffered a black widow spider bite and treated him. Head said she and Scott remained in the ER waiting room. At no time, Head said, did Scott leave her side. Broston was discharged around 11 p.m. and given a prescription. Scott offered to bring her car to the exit. She did not want Broston to walk too far in his condition, as he was still not feeling well. Head and Scott used the restroom briefly before heading out to the parking lot. Head and Broston filled his prescription and waited at the exit for Scott. When they did not see her after a few minutes, they went out to the ER's parking lot. Suddenly, they saw Scott's car speeding towards them. Its headlights blinded them so they could not see who was behind the wheel. They waved their arms to try to get Scott's attention, but the car sped past them and took a sharp right turn out of the parking lot. Initially, both thought Scott had an emergency come up with her son. A few hours later, after not hearing from her, Head and Broston reported Scott missing. At about 4:30 a.m. on May 29th, Scott's car, a white 1973 Toyota station wagon was found burning in an alley about 10 miles from the hospital. Neither she nor her supposed kidnapper were anywhere nearby. On August 6, 1984, a construction worker discovered a dog and human bones side by side, about 30 feet from Santa Ana Canyon Road. The bones were partially charred, and authorities believe they had been there for 2 years, as a brush fire had swept across the site in 1982. A turquoise ring and watch were also found. Scott's mother said the watch had stopped at 12:30 a.m. on May 29th, about an hour after Head and Brostrom last saw Scott's vehicle. On August 14th, the bones were identified as Scott's by dental records. An autopsy could not determine the cause of death. A memorial service was held on August 22nd. About a week after Scott's disappearance, her parents received a phone call from an unidentified man who said, "I've got her," and hung up. The same man called almost every Wednesday afternoon and said either he had Dorothy or had killed her. The calls were usually brief and usually occurred when Vera was home alone. In April 1984, the man called during the evening. Jacob Scott answered, and the call stopped. After Scott's remains were found in August 1984, the family started receiving calls again. Police installed a voice recorder at the Scott's residence. They were not able to trace the calls, however, because the man never stayed on the line long enough. A possible motivation in Scott's murder surfaced June 12, 1980. An unidentified man called the front desk at the Orange County Register. The paper had just run a long story that day about the case. A managing editor told the police. The man said, "I killed her. I killed Dorothy Scott. She was my love. I caught her cheating with another man. She denied having someone else. I killed her." The editor also said the caller knew Conrad Brostrom had suffered a spider bite the night of May 28th. He also knew that Scott had been wearing a red scarf. She had changed her black scarf to a red one after the employee meeting. Neither of these details had been published in the June 12th article. The caller also claimed Scott phoned him from the hospital that night. Pam had disputed that claim, saying she had been with Scott the entire time and she had not made a phone call. Investigators believe the anonymous caller was responsible for Scott's death.